He loves her. Let that be the first thing said clearly, because everything that follows depends on it being true. He loves her. He is not indifferent. He is not cold in the way that some men are cold. He thinks about her. He wants her to be happy. He feels the specific weight of her absence when she is not there, and the specific comfort of her presence when she is. The love is real. It is genuine. It is not a performance, and it is not a convenience. It is what he feels. But she does not always feel it, and he cannot understand why, because from inside his experience, he is giving what he has. He is present, he provides, he is faithful, he shows up when things are hard, he does not leave. And the things he does, the practical things, the reliable things, the things that cost him time and money and effort, those things are his love. That is how he expresses it, through doing, through being there, through not failing her in the ways that feel most important to him. But she needs something he does not know how to give. She needs the words, the noticing of small things, the unprompted expression of what she means to him, the capacity to be emotionally present, not just in crisis, but in ordinary moments, the ability to say, without it being forced, without it requiring an occasion, without it feeling like a performance, I love you, and I am here, and you matter to me in this specific way that I am going to describe out loud right now. And he cannot do that, not easily, not naturally, not in the way that seems to come effortlessly to men he observes in films or hears about from her friends. He knows the love is there. He does not know how to make it visible in the language she understands. This is the psychology of the man who was never taught how to love. Not the man who does not want to love, not the man who is incapable, the man who wants it completely, who is trying genuinely, and who is working from a map that has entire territories missing, because nobody drew them for him. Because the men he watched when he was learning what men were never showed him how the love was supposed to be expressed. They showed him how it was supposed to be demonstrated, in work, in provision, in showing up when things are hard. But the language of love, the emotional vocabulary, the daily practice of choosing someone in the ways they can feel, that practice was absent, not deliberately withheld, just never modeled, never practiced, never given a name. The boy in that house learned many things about love. He learned that love means showing up, that it means consistency and reliability and not leaving when things are hard, that it means working hard and being responsible and keeping your commitments. These are real and valuable things. They are part of love, but they are the structural load-bearing parts. They are the foundation, and a foundation without the building on top of it is not a home. It is just a slab. And many men arrive in their adult relationships with an extraordinarily solid foundation and no idea how to build the rest, because the rest was never shown to them, because the men who raised them were also working from incomplete maps. There is also the emotional vocabulary problem. A man who grew up in a house where emotions were not spoken does not just lack the habit of expressing them. He may lack, at a deeper level, the vocabulary to identify them in himself before they can be expressed. He knows he loves her, but can he say why, specifically, in the particular ways that make her feel individually seen, rather than generically valued? Can he name what he admires about her, what she does that moves him, what she has changed in him, what his life would be without her, in the specific terms that make love feel personal rather than positional? That vocabulary, the precise, individual, emotionally specific language of love, requires practice that most men were never given the opportunity or permission to develop. The man who was never taught how to love is not emotionally absent. He is emotionally present in a language that the people he loves often cannot read. His love is real. Its expression is limited by what was never modeled, and the gap between the fullness of what he feels and the narrowness of how he expresses it is one of the most quietly painful things in the lives of both the men who carry it and the people who love them. The person who loves him starts eventually to doubt, not his faithfulness, that is usually clear, not his commitment in the functional sense, but whether he sees her, whether she matters to him in the specific, personal, individual way that love is supposed to mean she matters, whether she is the woman he loves or simply the woman he is with, because he has never said, in the precise language of individual recognition, what makes her specifically the person, what makes her irreplaceable rather than present. And without that language, over time the doubt grows, and the doubt produces distance, and the loneliness produces conversations he does not understand, about needs he does not know how to meet, in a language he was never given. The conversations follow a specific pattern. She tells him she needs more from him emotionally. He defends what he provides, the practical care, the reliability, the showing up. She tries to explain that the practical care is not the problem. He does not fully understand what the problem is, because from where he stands, he is doing everything that love requires. And they arrive at an impasse that neither can fully resolve, because they are speaking about the same subject in different dialects. Her dialect includes the daily verbal and emotional expression of connection. His dialect consists of acts of service and structural commitment. Both are genuine, both are real, expressions of love, and they are not, on their own, sufficient for the other person to feel loved. Over time, if nothing changes, one of two things happens. She adapts her expectations downward, stops hoping for the emotional language, and accepts the structural love as the whole of what is available. And the relationship becomes functional, but the specific warmth of being genuinely seen fades. Or she does not adapt, and the distance grows until the relationship cannot hold it, and he loses her, and he genuinely does not fully understand why, because he never stopped loving her. He just never learned to express it in a way she could receive. And that is a grief that sits differently from other kinds of loss, the loss of something real through a gap that was never his fault to have, but was his responsibility to try to close. The first thing to understand is that this is a skill, not a feeling. The feeling is already there. The love is real. What is missing is the skill of expressing it. And skills are built through practice, not through inspiration, not through waiting until it feels natural, through doing it before it feels natural, repeatedly, until the repetition produces a kind of fluency that was not there before. The man who wants to learn this is not trying to become someone he is not. He is trying to develop a capacity he was never given. And developing a capacity is not a betrayal of who you are, it is an expansion of it. It starts with noticing. Before expression comes observation, the practice of actually paying attention to the specific person, not the role she plays in your life, not the function of having a partner, but her, what she is good at that you admire, what she does that nobody else does, what she brought to your life that was not there before she arrived, what she carries that you see and that she may not know you see. The practice of noticing these things, not in a grand way, in ordinary daily attention, is the foundation of the emotional language she needs. Because the language she needs is not the generic language of "I love you" repeated on appropriate occasions. It is the specific language of "I see you" in this particular way, at this particular moment, and what I see is something that matters. The second step is saying it before it feels completely natural. This is the hard part, because for men who were raised in houses where this kind of expression was absent, the first attempts feel awkward and artificial and exposed in a way that the structural love never required. It feels like speaking a foreign language in a country where everyone else is fluent. But the awkwardness is not evidence that it is wrong. It is evidence that it is new. And new things feel awkward before they become natural. Every skill has an awkward phase. The awkward phase of learning to express love is worth tolerating because of what comes on the other side, which is a relationship in which the person you love actually feels loved, not just provided for, not just structurally supported, actually seen, specifically by you, in the language she understands. The third step is understanding that this is not a one-time declaration. It is a practice, a daily, small, ordinary practice of choosing to express what you feel rather than assuming it is understood. Because the assumption that she knows, that the practical love is self-evident, that she must be able to feel what he does not say, is one of the most common and most costly assumptions men make in long relationships. She cannot feel what is not expressed. The love that lives entirely in his interior, never spoken, never made visible in the specific language of individual recognition, is love that does her almost no good. Not because she doubts it entirely, but because love that is not expressed is love that does not land, and love that does not land does not sustain the thing it is supposed to sustain. Think about the person you love most, and ask yourself, does she know specifically and in detail why you love her? Not that you love her, why? What about her, individually and precisely, makes her the person? What she has brought to your life that no one else could have brought in the same way? What you notice about her that you have never said out loud? What she does that moves you that you have absorbed and not expressed? How long have you been carrying that specific knowledge of her without giving it back to her in the language she can receive? And think about the last time you said something about her love, not in a crisis, not as a reassurance when she was upset, but unprompted, on an ordinary day, when nothing was wrong and nothing was required, and you simply said something specific and true about what she means to you. When was that? How long ago? And what would it cost you, really, honestly, in practical terms, to do it today? Not a speech, one sentence, specific, true, about her as she is and what that means. The love you carry is real, that matters. It is the most important thing, and it is not nothing that it is there. Many people go through their lives without it. You have it, you feel it. It is genuine and durable and present every day in 100 ways that are real, even if they are not spoken. That is the foundation, and foundations matter. But the person who loves you does not only live in the foundation, she lives in the building, in the daily warmth of being specifically chosen, of being noticed in the particular ways that make a person feel individual rather than generic, of hearing, occasionally, in language she can receive, what she means to the man she has built her life alongside. That is not a demand for performance, that is a human need, the same need you have, to be known, to be seen, to matter to someone in a specific way that is entirely about you. You know what it feels like when that need goes unmet. You know the particular loneliness of it. And the person you love is carrying that same need, not instead of appreciating the structural love, alongside it, as the part of it that makes the structure feel like a home. You were not taught this, that is true, and it matters, and it is not your fault. But you are an adult now, and adults can learn what they were not taught. Not easily, not with awkwardness,
not in a single conversation or a single decision, but through the daily, imperfect, genuine practice of trying to say what you feel to the person you feel it for, through choosing expression over assumption, through giving back in the language she understands some portion of what you have been carrying in silence. She is not asking you to become someone different. She is asking you to let her see the person you already are, the one who notices things and feels things and loves her in ways that have never found their way out of your interior into the shared space between you. That person, the one who loves her specifically and fully, is the one she fell in love with, and he is still there. He just needs to start talking. Next episode, the man who was raised by a weak father, not an absent father, not an abusive one, a man who was present but not strong, who did not model what it looks like to stand for something, to lead, to hold ground, and the specific patterns that grows in a boy who is raised without that model, what it produces in adulthood, and what it takes to become the man your father could not show you how to be. That one is next.